I can really pull it out. A new powerhouse estate. This is the all-new VW Golf R variant. Here from the Golf 8 generation, the estate form. And we'll take it out to the racetrack and also give you a tour, exterior and interior here on Autogefühl with Thomas. In the front we can see the strong styling here in the lower part, contrasting high gloss black, and the daytime running light that is connected here indeed. Option, you can also get matrix LED for this new Golf 8 generation. We picked the white color here for you today. There's also this special lapis blue color, which always looks cool, but the white one a little bit more different. And this one comes with an optional performance pack, so 19-inch wheels instead of 18-inch wheels. And the performance pack also unlocks the top speed to 270 kilometers an hour or around 170 miles per hour, so 20 kilometers an hour more. Plus an optional drift mode and a special Nürburgring race mode. Soon more to that feature. 4.63 meters or 182 inches is the length of the Golf 8R variant. A little bit complicated, right? And that means 7 centimeters or 3 inches longer than the predecessor. Also, this one here has a longer wheelbase than the hatch version. Will this have an effect on driving it? We'll find out very soon. Definitely what will have a big effect, not only the DCC, adaptive suspension, it sets the damping according to the driving modes, but even more important this generation here at the rear axle, there's a torque vectoring. So the all-wheel drive goes front plus rear on demand, but here then now in this generation, there's a torque split in the rear axle, so you can send more torque to the outside wheel in the corner, and that kind of, you know, drifts, if you like, the car around a little bit more. There's also a special drift mode than available in this performance pack, so you can have, you know, a less front wheel bias attitude, even a little bit more rear wheel drive feeling. How will it play out in the variant? We'll find out with the driving part very soon. A modern tail lamp styling here in the rear end, another contrast in the lower part. Real exhaust tips, so no job for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police. And the Akrapovic exhaust, which is available for the hatch, is not available for the variant. Why? It does not have a valve control, and that's why they also do not offer the Akrapovic exhaust. Hashtag no gas struts. Yeah, that's the thing with the Golf 8 generation. Here under the hood for the R, 2-liter 4-cylinder, turbocharged, 320 horsepower than here in this generation, and 4.9 seconds is the acceleration figure with that all-wheel drive. That's 0.2 seconds slower than the hatch. Yeah, not the massive difference, but here of course the hatch you can use better as for the flexibility and so on. We'll soon also take a look at the trunk and see what I mean. This is the car key, awaiting some scratches and fingerprints, but here you have the R logo. Then the door closing sound. That's what the Golf is famous for, and it's still good here also in the Golf 8 generation. Then inside of the doors, you have soft touch here at the top part, then a sporty insert, but it's not real carbon fiber, and nice bright or grey microfiber. That's cool, and also soft enough here for longer trips for your elbow. However, they do have some cost savings in some, you know, cheaper materials if you compare to the Golf 7. That's just fact. Then you have this, you know, kind of integrated screen unit here. 10.25 on the left side and 10-inch on the right side. We'll soon put these screens on and show you all about it. Then you have the R steering wheel with blue contrast stitches, and also this R button that you can directly jump to the R mode. They are also illuminated and look really fancy, but they're capacitive and therefore harder to control while driving. Highlight of this vehicle are the seats here with the grey microfiber once again and the stitched R logo and a fabric insert right there, so you can also keep cool when you're on the racetrack. And indeed the comfort is really, really good. So especially these sport seats. So sometimes sport seats are less comfortable. Here in this case, they even add to the comfort if you compare them to the base Golf seats. So very comfortable seating position here for a compact vehicle. 1.86 or 6'1" leaves enough headroom as well. And you can also set the steering wheel in, you know, all kinds of positions. So very nicely for a compact vehicle. Good offering of space. And here we have manual control for the front seat, but that's also fine with me. Here in the interior overview, still a clean atmosphere and also with this sporty insert. Then you can see here how it pops up the infotainment system. Soon more details to that. The climate unit, however, here is as a slider right there, or you press it like this. So it's not that easy to control. At least it's always there, but it's also not illuminated at night. That's a problem. And also the volume control right there. Yeah, at least you can also control the volume also at the steering wheel right here. The capacitive buttons give you, some kind of feedback. but it's not ideal. At least they're illuminated. And here the R button, that's interesting. When I press it here, you can also see what it does in the screen. So when I press it once, I can click through the driving modes. But when I press and hold it, it always directly hops to the race mode. So you can easily pick the sportiest mode. And then we also have drift and special mode. So in the drift mode, even more torque is sent to the rear wheels, and then also this, this torque vectoring effect is being enhanced, and also the front wheels are a little bit reduced, in the power, so we have more power in the rear, and also especially at the outside wheel that you can really drift the car around. This will be super interesting. Other than that, we have the shifting pedals here at the steering wheel. They're a little bit larger in general, so nice control. And yeah, not so many buttons are left. Here you have some hotkeys to get the climate menu, for example. You can also use the voice control, but it's not that sophisticated. And the driving mode selector is also here, but here in the R version, you just use it at the steering wheel. In the lower part, 2 USB-C chargers. Then you also have an inductive charging pad. It is actually underneath this area right there. Then shift by wire, DSG, dual clutch transmission, 7-speed. So that's why you can also keep it rather clean here. And then you have some cup holders. They can fold out like this. And there's another bigger one here. And this nice little red cover, very well attached. Some more space underneath. We had huge problems with the infotainment system in the very first Golf 8 reviews. Meanwhile, they have implemented an update. And you can see they have really increased the speed. It's not fast, not living up to the standards of an infotainment system how it should be in modern times, but it's way better than the very first versions. So gladly they did or changed something with this software update here. So this, trust me, it was way slower before. There's also the Apple CarPlay integration or Android Auto, wireless or with cable, you can pick that. And even more interesting, here from the normal R mode, here in the performance pack, you can then either go to the Nürburgring special mode. This has then green hell green. However, then the special drift mode, there you have to confirm, because then the ESC is on ESC Sport, not completely off. You can deactivate it completely, but ESC Sport allows, more that the car can do actually, and red mode then from the drifting mode. And this mode directly you can also do the launch control in. Digital instruments are clear to read, and this is the RPM indicators, not for the shifting, because we have 7 gears, and this is here to 8,000 RPM, just to that you're not confused. And you have different stylings here for the digital instruments, more classic styling, or for example this with a map all over the place, so that's practical to have. And you can also get a head-up display. Let's get in the rear. And since you have more wheelbase here in the variant than in the hatch, this is the clear advantage. You have more legroom, and this is also different than here in this new generation. That's the best thing about this new generation. You just have plenty of legroom here in the rear, even with 1.86 or 6.1, and headroom also no problem at all. You see the sport seats have pockets here at the back part, and you have hard pack at the inside of the doors right here. There we go, Jonas, also with some ambient lighting. But then the lower part with the grey microfiber and also the soft leatherette cover is again very comfortable. And we have the same great sport seat styling here in the rear as well, with the grey microfiber and the fabric. And the rear seating is extremely comfortable. It's really good. You have this kind of single seat setup, and it's super cozy. At the same time, it keeps you a little bit tight, like sport seats for the rear. Also, the head restraint is very soft, so I really have to say, this is probably the kind of the most comfortable way I've ever been seated in a compact vehicle. Really, I'm totally honest with you. With all pro and con points, this is really like super astonishing how comfortable it is here in the rear. Middle seating here is of course a little bit stiffer, but it also works for the dimensions. But it's more thought out to be like 4 tall adults. That's why you have this, sports single setup. 2 USB-C chargers in this rather huge middle tunnel. Of course, there's this mechanical link from front to the rear. And then we have the cup holders right there. And also a ski hatch we can control from here. Otherwise, we do fold the seats all from here, if that's, what you want. Now let's put all the head restraints down. Of course, we're going to fold this one all over the place. Oh, by the way, you've seen that? Here also a blue leatherette cover around the head restraints. So the seats, both front and rear, is really what they paid attention to that. I'm really glad they did. This really enhances the comfort on all places. So you want to take it out to the racetrack and go shopping? Yeah, that's the thing you would go for the variant then. 1,642 liters is the maximum capacity, and let's take a look here. The cover has rails at the side, so it's a clean solution like this. And here we go, sample luggage. Cabin trolley fits in a vertical way. The length here is at 1 meter or 40 inches, and the same also goes for the width. And the overall height here is 70 centimeters or 28 inches. Then underneath, sound equipment, but you could also put it, there for a spare tire. And then you can also fold the seats from here directly. And so overall, this estate here does everything right as for the flexibility. Everything has square dimensions, easy to fold, a lot of luggage space, and the overall length here is about 1 meters 80 or 71 inches. So that's also very well done. Here we go, Thomas's Performance Driving Lounge, starting today at the Bilster Berg Racetrack in Germany. A very famous one, meanwhile, because they have collected different track passages from the world's most famous racetrack, put together here also with altitude changes and so on. And here the Golf R variant, it's giving a nice performance. And in front of us a Golf R hatch, by the way, with that Akrapovic exhaust we don't have here, but still we have a decent sound, definitely. So, what's about it? First of all, a balanced handling. This is good. Nice weight balance as well. Front to rear here, nice S chicane, hard on the throttle. Wow, it's really good acceleration. And now there's, for example, a nice dip. Here we go. Woo! Then you really get all the G-forces and so on. And the interesting thing, of course, here in this new generation is that you have this torque vectoring. And the torque vectoring means, or the torque split for the rear axle, when I'm on the gas, then more power can be sent to the outside wheel of that corner. And we're at the moment just warming up, even more speed to come. But the good thing is here in the Golf, I really like to drive it on the race rig because it makes racing kind of easy, so you don't feel too much stressed out here, for example, accelerating out. Then, it's not that the car is drifting away or something, but it feels less front wheel biased by this. And this is, I think, the crucial thing about this vehicle. So, let's now take it a little bit harder. Jonas, can you tell him to drive faster? Maybe?
We can go faster now.
Yeah, let's do this. So, let's see. Of course, in front of us, a professional race driver. Let's see how much we can keep up with that one. Wow. I mean, the balance handling of this car is really superb. Here the autonomous emergency brake is being on. Hard on the pegs. Yeah, this is in the S corners where the professional drivers can really make up time and see how quick he escapes from us. So even if you're a skilled driver and driven the racetracks, a lot of time professional drivers can still, make you look so weak. That's interesting, but I mean, it's no problem to me. So here we go, inside line, really precise also from that steering. That is really nice. So you have a very good handling over the car, also with the steering. I really love that. So it doesn't steer too much, doesn't steer too little. It's exactly right. We are in the Nürburgring race mode. That's why we also have green instruments. And this one was indeed set up on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And so all the parameters are set to that. Sometimes, of course, you feel that you still have a 4-cylinder. So I've driven this vehicle here also with, more powerful engines. And now in this dip with about 200 kilometers or 25 miles an hour. But still, it's 320 horsepower here, 4.9 seconds in the acceleration figure. It's actually quite nice that you still have this power, although you only have a 4-cylinder engine. But at some point, of course, it also comes to its limits. But you only feel it on the racetrack. On the road, it's something completely different for sure. The DCC, the adaptive suspension, doesn't lean too much. So you feel that it's not like an entire race car only. But I think they've really found a good compromise. I can race this vehicle, the seats are keeping me tight, but at the same time I don't get lower back pain. And some super sporty vehicles, you are on the racetrack with them, and after being driven on the racetrack, yeah, you feel like, oh, I need a break now. And here it goes fairly easy with the Golf R. That's the cool thing. And on the racetrack, the hatch does feel a little bit more agile. Yeah, that's the only reason the professional race driver is faster than me, right? He's driving the hatch. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, on the racetrack, you do feel difference when you have a little bit less wheelbase. On the road, it's not that big, but overall, I think the cool thing is, once again, the balance handling of this vehicle and the very precise steering. There is no dead zone area, a lot of fun for that. We have ESC on here at the moment, by the way. Let's see when we put it to ESC Sport how different that is. So Nürburgring mode starts with ESC on for safety reasons only. When we're now in the ESC Sport mode, let's see about that, how that changes things. So definitely less intervention by the ESC system. ESC Sport is actually a good compromise, so you have some safety mechanism in place still, but it lets you just ease the car out a little bit more. And that was also one of the reasons the car in front of us has ESC completely off. So in some corners you can get out a little bit better, but now with ESC Sport, let's see how different that is. Wow, now the G-forces and hard on the brakes in front of the next corner. Let's see, here the car leans a little bit out. Tires are really working now, really working the vehicle. And yeah, going outside here. So with the torque, the torque split in the rear, again, it's not that the car would have a completely different feeling, but definitely, especially when you get out of the corners, then you have just more control of the vehicle in a way that you get around here, get out of the corners a little bit better. And that's just a lot of fun to have a more agile feeling for the car. So definitely when you compare this one here to the outgoing generation, we have some things, in the build quality or the infotainment system, which are not that convincing, yes, but driving it here, look at that, seen that? So came around in the rear just a little bit, and that is a lot of fun. However, what we also saw now, look our driving profile. I did some nice drifting out now, and now I have to go back here to the Nürburgring mode because I hit the R button with my hand. And that's of course something, really annoying that can happen. Just because I was holding onto the steering wheel very tightly. That rather happens on the racetrack, on the normal road, not that often actually. But now when I want to deactivate the ESC again, there's no special button for that, and I would have to ask Jonas, hey, can you deactivate the ESC, and search for like minutes in the menu. Thank you, Jonas. And that's of course something you do not want to do while race driving. So yeah, that shows once again, it's not made for, it's on ESC Sport. Thank you, Jonas. Yeah, so obviously the car kept the ESC Sport, but the drift mode, the Nürburgring mode, that one was deactivated. I was just barely touching it. That's once again proving my point. You need real buttons in the vehicle and not these capacitive buttons. Yeah, that's one of the drawbacks. And the cool thing that we can test exactly these things, because these things only appear when we really test the cars to the max, like today also on the racetrack. Well, I would say with this drift mode, whoa, tires flying all over the place here. So let's try to drift this one on the wet surface, and after that, of course, we also go to the normal road. And here on this extra wet surface in the drift mode, we can show you even better how this car can be drifted. I start in ESC Sport, then I activate it to show you the differences. So now drift mode with ESC Sport, and when I'm just here in standstill, it goes around in the rear, but you heard that, braking intervention. So when you're in the ESC Sport, the brakes are still pretty active and keep you, somewhat safe, of course. So here, of course, this should only be done in closed circuit or situations like these. Now drift mode and ESC off, And I mean, this was ESC Sport, but still massive braking intervention. And now when I'm here, I'm standstill and ESC off. There you see, I can really pull it out and then see it's also open also. And now we are literally going off the racetrack because that's the scenario most people will encounter in this vehicle. And the good thing is when you have it here on the comfort mode, then the DCC, the adaptive suspension, dynamic chassis control, also sets everything on a softer note. And so although this is the top sporty model here of the lineup, the suspension is kind of forgiving in a way that it does deliver the normal comfort for everyday driving life you need. And that's a good thing because some top sports models from different manufacturers, in the lineups, they are really, set on such a sporty tone that you do have great comfort losses in everyday driving. And that's not the case here for the Golf R. So if you would ask me, would I go for the normal Golf or for Golf R? As for the comfort, I would say it doesn't matter that much actually. Of course, a normal Golf will be softer, but here you still get the full comfort of a Golf. And as I said earlier, these seats here, both front and rear, are so good, these sport seats, that they deliver you even more normal comfort also for your everyday driving life. So this really is sports version without a bad compromise as for the comfort. And this is something I really enjoy about the Golf R. In the comfort mode also the steering, by the way, is way lighter. But the good thing is they have found always a good, precise setup. So even in the comfort mode, if you go in the slalom, the suspension doesn't lean too much to the side. It's still fairly comfortable at the same time. So really combines sportiness and comfort. The only thing is when you are in the sportier modes, also for example in normal sport mode, yes, I like the blue background a little bit better. Then we have a little bit more feedback from the steering wheel. That's definitely good. But here, such a natural feeling. Look at how the steering angle really adapts to the corner, and that's a really good thing to have. Well, as for the longer wheelbase on the racetrack, that's something you do feel a little bit if you compare directly then, but you have to go from the variant to the hatch directly. Other than that, the wheelbase difference is not that large. It has a huge effect on the rear space there for the knees, but in normal city traffic and countryside driving and so on, this difference then is not that large actually, so it doesn't play a big effect for a normal customer when you're driving on the road. Race mode definitely always a nice thing to have. For example, when you accelerate out here to the street, and how stable the car remains, really nice. So there's no loss here from the steering wheel that you feel like, oh, this gets a little bit out of control or something. Plop from the exhaust. So this all-wheel drive system is very smooth as well. So the more I hit the throttle, the more torque is being sent to the rear wheels. And then once again, the torque split that here, for example, in this case, left bend and accelerate out, I have a little bit more torque on the right wheel, but it's not getting out of control or something. Still very well controllable, this vehicle. This is one of the best things. I love to drive the Golf also on the racetrack, but both also on the street, because it feels so calm and collected. It is fast, it is quick, always also when you're here on the countryside road, reducing the speed, no one behind us. And in the race mode here, a little bit lower from the gears, but here hit the throttle and also when I look over to Jones here, like yeah, but Jonas is, he can withstand everything I've ever done to him on any racetrack on this world. I wonder how he does that. How do you do it?
I don't know.
I know, it's the only thing I can say. It's like, so, he's the Marvel Thor, So, yeah, that's the thing about Jonas. Always great to have him here, and also called the Iron Stomach. So, back to our city driving part here. You can even drive it in the sport mode, and it is fairly comfortable here on the road. That's a cool thing to have. Roundabout visibility is better than in the hatch, definitely, and to all the sides, very good, definitely. You can also set the cruise control here, So you have to activate it first, then set it here, and then you can plus minus in 1 steps, or a little bit harder press to 10 kilometer steps. Not the practical thing to have, because, well, you have to find it out. And once again, this happening, I'm still looking at these buttons, you know. Yes, you get along with that a little bit better after a while, but still, real buttons better. Travel assist now activate means I have also lane keeping assist, and now see, I'm not actively steering, I'm holding on to the steering wheel, capacitive function, and you see here very smooth how the car is being kept in the lane. So the assistance systems, they work very well. You also have an integrated blind spot monitor in the side mirrors. But gladly today we are here in this rural area where we don't have so much traffic, but it would appear in the side mirror there. So everything assistance systems wise, this is really very well done. And I mean, the best thing about this vehicle is that it's so well usable in your everyday driving life. It delivers so much comfort. It is so well balanced in accelerating out. Benny Leuchter, you know, or a friend for a long time here, and has accompanied us over so many events. He's testing and setting these cars up, also on Nürburgring Nordschleife as a professional racing driver. He has also done a phenomenal job that you can really have this balance both on the racetrack and on normal road. So this is probably the most astonishing thing they achieved here with this vehicle. And yeah, the chassis, the hardware, the handling, how the car is also balanced from front to rear axle, this is just absolutely perfect. So much fun both on the racetrack and also on the road. Yeah, that is something really, really very well done. Also, as for the shifting, of course, in the sports modes, it's a little bit more notable how you shift. In the comfort mode, very smooth transitions from this DSG and so on. Yeah. Once again, it's such a pity that the infotainment system is still so bad. Yes, faster now with the updates, but you've seen it earlier with some things that always pop up. Because when this car here would have a great infotainment system, like an Android-based one or whatever, you know, or the one we see in a Tesla, then it would be the perfect compact racing hatch. Most of the time, use the Apple CarPlay and Auto and hope everything is working. This is really something that does, you know, annoy you, definitely, you know, but leaving the infotainment system aside, hardly ever was it so racy in a compact estate, and at the same time so comfortable on all seats. That's definitely a great thing about this vehicle. Of course, we always have a review of the hatch available for you, Golf 8R hatch. You can check it out right here. And maybe also one of the competitors that will also be very interesting to see at these videos.